Well, hello and welcome back. We are continuing our SQL tutorials, and most with a focus on MySQL and MariaDB as our test environment. And today we're continuing looking at store procedures and some of the things we can do there. And we're going to get into cursors. Now, for this one, if I can find my document here, we'll blow this up a little bigger. We're going to, and what a cursor is a pointer for a set. If you think about like a number of items, and we've seen cursors in many ways, but so let's say you've got like item 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These are our records. Cursor is basically like the current row selector for that. So when the cursor, if there's a cursor for these 5 rows, if the cursor's pointing to this row, then that's sort of your current context. And then you can move the cursor to the next row, and the next row, and the next row, and the next row, which is really the point and the use with our context, with what we're talking about. What we're going to want to do is we're going to get a selection, we're going to get a record set, and then we are going to use a cursor to walk through that and do some sort of processing. In our case, we're going to keep it sort of simple. So we've got this little store procedure that we're just going to call cursorExample. We're not going to send any parameters or anything. And we're going to start out with a couple variables we declare. One is done, and we're going to start at 0. It's going to be basically our Boolean. So if it's a 1, then it's done. 1 and done. 0, it's not done. And then we're going to have a storage variable called theName that we're going to keep up with. Now, to get it for declaring a cursor is pretty straightforward. As you just declare, make sure I missed my typing on it, and you give it a name. So I'm just going to call it. So this is just cursor name, or actually, let me call it myCursor, just to make it. And you declare it as a cursor for, which means what is it cursoring? What's the record set? In this case, I'm just going to select a username from app user. I could do something more complicated, but for now, we're going to keep it really simple. We're going to have a not found handler, which is basically says, hey, if I don't find something, so when I try to do something with the cursor, as in, if I go to next record, and it's not found, then I'm going to set done equal to 1 here. So that just means that, hey, if I get to the end of the record set, I'm done. And then in order to execute it, basically, we call an open. So we're going to do an open on myCursor. I just want to make sure I caught up my other thing. And I'm going to have a thing, I'm just going to call it myLoop. In this loop, I am going to fetch, this is my cursor, into theName, which is my little temporary variable. And if I'm finished, if done. So if I'm done, which means if I get a right here, so to continue, it doesn't exit. I could just blast out of here if I don't find it. What I'm going to be, do a nice little clean leave of this store procedure. So if I'm done, if I've run off the end of my list, my record set, then I'm just going to leave my loop. Otherwise, I'm going to select the name, and here's the end of my loop, and then we did an open up here for the cursor. And then when we're done, we want to close it. So we sort of open our connection, and then we close the connection. So if I take that, and let's go here, let's make sure, hopefully, I got everything right. And I can do source .SQL. Let's see what it does. Undefined cursor curName. Whoop. Where did I do? Oh, I did not change it here. My cursor. Let's go over here. I didn't get that. Let's do it this way. My cursor. I think I accidentally told it to save, which I didn't want to do. And let's try that again. Okay, so now if I call cursorExample, then what I'm doing here is I'm going to say user 1, 2, 3, 4, and let me do that select for you. So I have user 1, 2, 3, 4 are my users, and it's going to come through. And each time I'm just doing a select here. Now I can do something more interesting. So I could do, let's move him outside of the cursor. Let's do that. Oh, except for I don't think it's going to like that concatenation, but we're going to find out in a second. I always forget that piece. So now, oh, do I have create or replace? No. So I need to do or replace. And now if I come back here and source it, okay, now it's going to complain because that doesn't, that's not how we concatenate. I do want to do, I believe it's this. Oh, because I'm doing it into the name. So let's call this, I change this a little bit because now we're going to have to call this output. And we'll make it a larger, make it like, I don't know, 1,000. We'll make a nice long line. And then output equals concatenate output, comma the name, comma that. I think I can do it that way. And if I do select output, see how that looks. Still didn't like it because it's not that concatenate. Oh, sorry, it's not concatenate. I always forget. It is concat. And let's take that and flip him over to, oh, wait, let's go here. Put that in here just so we've got it in our notes. Let's see. Oh, and we're probably, I don't think he likes it doing it with 3. So first we're going to do that. Let's do this. Equals. Get that. We're going to concatenate the name there. And then we're going to do that. And let's see if that is a little more friendly. No, still doesn't like it because, let's see, what did we miss here? Oh, I forgot to do our sets. So we do that. And now we run it, then we're good. If we try to do that call somewhere back here, now what we're doing, let me blow this. Let me do 2 things. Let me take this and replace it. And let me put it over here so we can see it a little better. So now what I did is I declared this output, and I should probably call it something else, but we'll do that for now. And then instead of doing the select each time like I did, this time what I do is each time I come through, I concatenate a comma to the name, and then concatenate that to the output. And then when I get done, I do 1 select, and I have my user list here. So I can do something more complicated. So I can do, let's do this. And let's do, so what I want to do here, let's just play around with this a little bit. let's do that guy. So let's do username and user login. Comma user login. Whoop, that should be a comma. Name, the login, and then that's all good. I'm going to set that into name, comma, the login, and then let's do this. Let's get really fancy. So the name equal, let's see. Let's see if I can do this. I think I can do it this way. Oh. And then I want that to be login. Let's just do a pipe just cuz. Oh. So let's play with that. Let's see how that does for us. Whoops, that's not what I want. This is what I want. So now when we call it, I'm sorry, I flew right through that. So what I'm doing now, so now what I'm going to see is for each row, I'm seeing the username and the user login in brackets there beside it. So what I did, and I could probably break these out, make them even, do a one-liner here. But now, actually, let's flip it over here. Oh, and let's go ahead and tack it to the end here so it's in our notes. So now what we're doing, and we can do this with any number of fields, but what we're going to do is now say, okay, I've got two different values. So I've got two columns I'm selecting from my app user. And then all I'm going to do is I just fetch from my cursor into whatever, as many variables as I need to match those fields that I'm pulling in the select. And so in this case, all I'm doing is coming in and saying, all right, I'm going to come in and set up my little string here of wrapping the login with a couple brackets and then appending that to the name so that we get username and then login, and then just put some brackets to do that. Now I could do that. I could do selects. I could do all kinds of different things that I wanted to as far as wheeling and dealing with that. I could also take that and turn around and use that as something, grab one of those values and then try to grab a value from a different table, or could do that, for example, and for each record, like in the app user, I could run one, I could go through and with each one call a store procedure on that, particularly like if we do an update or something like that. There's some things that we can do that is your normal working with loops and collections or result sets. So cursors become pretty powerful if you want to start really wheeling and dealing with your data within your store procedure. And there's a lot of things that we can do with them that help us as far as like performance is concerned and some other things. Because we could do, and this can have a where clause. This can be our cursor can be any select. So we can get very complicated in our cursor and how we pick our data that we're going to be working with. So that gives us an introduction to cursors and working with them, having a couple of fields. How do we make that work? And how do we integrate that into store procedures? And that covers what I wanted to cover for today, for this session. So we will wrap this one up. And we're just going to keep continuing, working our way through the various things that are out there, playing around with some of these. I don't know how far we are into this. As I said, we've still got, more than a few more topics. So just keep coming back. We're going to keep throwing these things out there. And I have changed it up. Initially, it was day 1, day 2, day 3, and that's still sort of in my notes. But I'm trying to put the, now I'm switching it over. So you should be able to see sort of the topic or a primary topic as part of the name of the session if you're out on YouTube. And hopefully that'll help when you're doing it, using this as like a reference or something like that. That being said, we'll wrap this one up. So go out there and have yourself a great day, a great week, and we will talk to you next time.